Thursday, September 22nd. It is officially fall, and you're listening to the Just Baseball Show. That's Aram. I'm Peter. We have an awesome interview with Nick Sandlin, a reliever for the Guardians, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, Aram, the Mets and Braves are in a heated playoff, chase right now. It's a chase to win the
division title chase,
yeah,
I guess.
The Mets are 90. The Mets have 95 wins. The Braves have 93 wins, but they are only a game apart in the division. So first, we're gonna go over who's gonna win this thing, Aram. Who's gonna win this thing? I have the Mets schedule. You have the Braves schedule. It's gonna be a fight till the end, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, so I've said Braves just because I'm sticking to my guns, but honestly, as we talk this out, we'll probably come to what is the more likely scenario, and then the opposite will happen, obviously. But it comes down to the schedule here. I think, there's a really fascinating breakdown here with who both teams face, and I'm excited to kind of get into that with you. But this is 100% this year's NL West showdown that we had between the Dodgers and the Giants, and this is important because the seeding with this new playoff structure, if you want to avoid the Dodgers as long as you can, you want to have the easiest path. Winning the division significantly helps that if you are trying to have a smoother path to the championship series here and eventually the World Series. So we're going to see both teams push really, really hard to avoid that 3-game wild card set.
I have the Mets schedule in front of me. Aram has the Braves schedule in front of me. Let's try and predict wins. Let's see what a final record at least looks like in our eyes to see if the Braves actually have a chance to catch the Mets. So the Mets schedule remaining in September. So today, as we're recording on Wednesday, September 21st, they play the Brewers in the last game of a set, which they've already won 2 games. Let's just quickly see. I'm going to pull up on my phone who's the starting pitcher to see who we think might win this game. So this game we're recording in the morning because we just finished our interview with Nick Sandlin. It's Taijuan Walker versus Adrian Houser. And Taijuan Walker has not had a good second half, and the Mets have already won 2 of the games. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say the Brewers win. Whether it happens or not, this is certainly not gambling advice because I will not be betting on this because I could totally see the Mets just sweeping the Brewers. But let's say the Brewers grab this one. So that's 0-1. Then they have 3 games against the A's. They probably sweep. They are going to the West Coast on a road trip, but they get a day off before. Let's say the A's are sneaky. Let's say they win 2 of 3. Do you think that's fair, or should we give them all 3?
Yeah, I think they're going to take care of business.
Yeah. So you think should we give them all 3?
I think we give them all 3.
Okay. So they're 3-1 currently. Then they have 2 games at home against the Marlins. I'll leave that one to you.
I think they take care of business. Let's give them 1 loss in that stretch of 5 games, let's say.
I think that's fair. So right now they would be 4-2 right now. And then they play the Braves. So they play the Braves for a 3-game series and then 3 games against the Nationals to end it. I'm also going to say that they sweep the Nationals. So really, I think that there's a strong possibility that they go 7-2, which is going to be really hard for the Braves to catch up to them. But the Braves do have that 3-game series. So let's say right now, you know what, is 6-3 fair, or should we go with 7-2? Like that, they may not.
I think they go 7-2 at that schedule.
They could just actually go 9-0.
Yeah, I think I think they go 7-2 at that schedule. Perfect. And here's the challenge: is you go to what we're looking at with the Braves is they've got a 4-game set right away as we start. As we're recording this, they're going to start a 4-game set with the Phillies, and the Phillies, they're in a good spot, but the Brewers are still breathing down their neck about 2.5, 3 games out of the wild card. And the Phillies are going to be trying to fight for their life here to solidify that playoff spot. That's not going to be an easy 4 games in Philly. It's going to be electric out there. The Philadelphia fans can sense the playoffs, and they're going to have to face both Nola and potentially, at least no, they'll just get Nola and Suarez in this one. So out of those 4 games, that's going to be tough. I could easily see the Phillies splitting that, but let's say they get let's say that the Braves get 3 out of 4 there. We're going to be very generous with the wins here because I think both teams are really freaking good.
I also think that they get 3 or 4, and I don't even think that's being generous. If you ask Mets fans how have the Phillies played the Braves when it's been, up and coming like this to the end of the season, they would say the Phillies are the Braves' best friends,
Yeah.
that they just allow them to win regardless. So I'm going to give them 3 or 4, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won all 4 games, because that's just how the season has unfolded, that when the Braves play the Phillies, Mets fans are in turmoil.
Yep, no, that I have seen, and they also get mad at the Marlins for just like literally handing out free wins. The
but
Washington
now they get
Nationals,
to face the Marlins, so win both of those.
Yeah,
games.
exactly. They both actually need to pummel the Nationals and the Marlins. They got 3 at Washington, and then they've got the 3 at home against the Mets, and then they finish up the season with 3 in Miami. I again think they win 5 out of the 6 of those, Washington/Miami games. It really all comes down to this Mets Braves series that's September 20th, or excuse me, September 30th, and is a 3-game set. I really think that series is going to define the division.
Man, we're in New York and it's going to be played in Atlanta. I wish that was at Citi Field but that is going to be the most electric series of the year, I think.
Oh, Braves fans have been unbelievable this season. I mean, that Truist Park has been rocking. They've done a great job of supporting the team, and that is a awesome stadium and area. It's going to be really fun, really intense. That you always hear the playoff atmosphere. I'll bet my life that's a playoff atmosphere. That's going to feel like maybe even the NLCS in some ways, with how just important that series is and how intense it's going to be. I'm interested to see how the Mets plan to use their rotation and stagger their rotation. As it stands now, DeGrom, and a lot can change, DeGrom would be slated to face Charlie Morton on Saturday.
Yeah. And
that's must-see TV.
Must-see TV. So let's go through the starting pitching matchup. So in game 1, it's Chris Bassett versus Kyle Wright. About as even as it gets.
Yep.
Like, that's going to be electric. Then you have Jacob deGrom facing off against Charlie Morton. I would assume the Mets I'm going to give the Braves game 1, and I'm going to give the Mets game 2 with deGrom against Morton. So game 3 to tie the division, currently undecided. Are we going to get
ESPN?
Maybe on ESPN? Maybe it's going to be Scherzer. Is it going to be Cookie Carrasco? They should not be throwing Taijuan Walker in this spot. And then for the Braves, do we get Strider? Do we get Fried? What if it's Fried Scherzer to possibly win the division? That's going to be ESPN, the greatest game of the year.
It would be the best game of the year, and it will also be a really cool opportunity for baseball to really showcase and get people excited for the postseason on national television, which I would love to see the ratings on that one. So really excited for that. And we'll be talking about that series plenty next week as well.
So how do you feel? Who do you think is going to win the division? Because I will go with the Mets still winning this division. Their schedule remaining is so incredibly easy. And then if you have deGrom and Scherzer in a 3-game series, more than likely you're going to win that series, and they already have the game up. They're 2 games above in the win column. I do think that the Mets are going to end up winning this division.
Yeah, it looks really good for the Mets. It looks really good, but I'm sticking with the Braves all the way through, but obviously it looks really good for the Mets, but you never know. And the Marlins have a chance to also play spoiler here against the Braves, which I know they will be happy to do in those final 3 games of the season. And if Sandy Alcantara makes one of those starts, you could easily steal one of those games. So it should be a really fun showdown. And that will be baseball's best showdown as we wind down this season and get ready for the postseason.
Now it's time to hear from Nick Sandlin, a right-handed reliever for the Cleveland Guardians, currently working with a 2.20 ERA. Strikeout stuff, sidewinder, awesome interview. Can't wait for you guys to hear it.
I mean, it seems like every Major League Baseball player we bring on the podcast is just a chill dude. It's just a really laid back, awesome guy. And I think this was no exception. Nick Sandlin is just fits the bill.
So you guys all know, every listener of the Just Baseball Show knows that I watch the Guardians probably as much as my favorite team, the New York Yankees, because I'm constantly betting on them, and I just love the energy over there with the Guardians. I love that point that he made about how they do have one of the lowest payrolls, but it's a lot of guys that are super young on their roster, right? They're going to get paid. Like you look at a guy like Amed Rosario, who, first off, if you put Amed Rosario against AL Central, He's the greatest shortstop of all time. And then you have Steven Kwan, who's really young. We talked about how Oscar Gonzalez is a laser show for them. Andres Gimenez.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
And then Tristan McKenzie, young pitcher. Shane Bieber still hasn't gotten that big old extension yet. Kyle Quantrill, the greatest pitcher of all time, hasn't gotten 300. He's going to get $500 million. He's going to make more than DeGrom because he deserves more than DeGrom. And just a cool stat about Kyle Quantrill, average exit velocity, he beats Jacob DeGrom in it. So, you weigh all the different stats. Average exit velocity seems to be the greatest stat because Kyle Quantrill is better than DeGrom in it. DeGrom could never. DeGrom could never.
It's fair. That is fair. And the other thing about it is you also have some of these savvy deals, right? They have Jose Ramirez on an affordable deal. They have Emmanuel Clase, one of the game's best closers, on a pre-arb affordable deal. So, I mean, that helps them a lot too. I am very interested to see how they maneuver and how they plan to maneuver. We've talked about how the Guardians have, secured some investment, have a little bit more spending money. Hopefully they'll reinvest that into the team and keeping that core together, because as Nick said, I mean, this is a really good core, a very well-rounded team with young guys that continue to come up, make an impact that you want to see them hold on to. So happy they're holding on to Jose Ramirez. Happy they're holding on to Clase. I hope they continue that trend with some of their other guys, Bieber as well and Jimenez as well. But it's pretty wild when you get to talk to a guy that's, in the thick of a playoff race and we're getting ready to brace for the postseason. And even he doesn't really know what to expect. That was the interesting thing I haven't been to the postseason. I have no idea, and that's a really interesting aspect of it all. Is there's so many guys that as we get into this postseason, this is their first taste of MLB playoffs. And I'm excited to see this Guardians team. I'm excited to see Nick perform out there. And I'm excited to just see all of these players get their first opportunity. We talked about it last episode, Peter, all of the rookies that could make an impact at the big league level in this playoff race and through the postseason. How about just some of these younger guys that it's their first taste of the playoffs? That's going to be really fun to watch.
The Cleveland Guardians are probably going to win the division because the White Sox are just
they're finally dead.
Off. I mean,
they're finally dead.
Finally dead.
That was actually the final nail in the coffin. That game,
like Aaron Savali versus Dylan Cease, and the White Sox don't come out with a win. That's the nail.
And losing extras and end up losing by a good amount. Like it was ugly. It was depressing. You could just feel the agony in that stadium from the White Sox fans. I agree. You don't win the Cease Savali start in a must-win game. That seems like that's the final nail in the coffin for the Chicago White Sox. Sorry, Jack.
Sorry, Jack. Not sorry, Jack. Jack, he deserves it. He deserves the pain.
Yeah, it's fine. He got the World Series in 2005.
Yeah, and Mark Burley pitched, and he watched him. That's fine. That's enough for Jack.
That's enough.
Last thing here on the Just Baseball show, Aaron Judge is making history on him. First of all, the MVP debate is over. I don't want to hear anything else. I have Shohei Ohtani behind me. He's one of my favorite players I've ever seen. I've called him the greatest player in baseball. It's over. I know you're going to say, but Ohtani, he's doing both. This is how I think about it at this point. Aaron Judge is, if you want to decipher, Aaron Judge is 230 home run hitters. Yeah. Now you have two of them. So this is from Codify again. The only players that hit 60 home runs in an MLB season: Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, and now Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge leads Major League Baseball in batting average. He leads he leads the American League in batting average at 316. He has 60 home runs and he has 129 RBIs. Triple Crown. If you win the Triple Crown, even if he doesn't anymore, because now it's not, are you beating Roger Maris? It's, are you beating Sammy Sosa at 66 home runs? Aaron Judge is having one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen in MLB history at this point.
Yep.
That's where we're at. If you still think that Shohei Ohtani should get the MVP award, then no matter what anyone else in the history of baseball does when Shohei Ohtani is in the league, that Shohei Ohtani is the MVP.
Season,
it's just done. And while I always thought that was kind of a dumb debate, at this point, that debate stands, or that point stands, because you have to then now do something in another player in the American League. What do you have to hit 70 home runs, hit 340 and have 180 RBIs? Then what? I mean,
that's why I keep saying
Ohtani to the end of time.
Just make it the Shohei Ohtani award at that point, and the part that frustrates me about this whole conversation is that it becomes like let's almost water down what the other guy's doing. Not saying that's what you did. I'm saying that's what it's become in the larger conversation of oh yeah, well, how good has Judge's defense really been in center field? What the fuck fuck are we talking about? And also on the Ohtani side, oh, well, his team stinks. If he was that valuable, they'd be better. No, he's basically on a AAA team plus Mike Trout, who hasn't been there for most of the year, or at least has missed a lot of time this year. You can't just single-handedly take it. It's not basketball, right? LeBron, you can't carry, Mo Williams and Anderson Varejao and Drew Gooden to the finals in baseball. You just can't do that. So it's just both ways. Enjoy what has been a historic season from both guys. Shohei Ohtani has taken his MVP season, which was revolutionary in every way, and has done better. Like, he has built upon that and has had a better season than his MVP year. That is incredible. Let's enjoy it. Let's savor it. Aaron Judge has had the most insane season we've ever seen, basically, given the circumstances, contract here, helping a team that has had a roller coaster of a season continue to be one of the best teams in baseball through that all. I mean, imagine how bad rock bottom would have felt when you don't have Aaron Judge keeping you afloat during this whole thing. Like, let's just enjoy what these guys are doing. The MVP debate will settle itself, and it's going to be Aaron Judge. It's going to be, the writers are going to side with Aaron Judge. It's not an indictment on Ohtani. Let's just enjoy history. Let's enjoy what these guys are doing and just acknowledge that baseball is in a phenomenal place with these two guys leading the way.
I couldn't have worded it better. My only last thing is, I've heard this, what if you put Ohtani on the Yankees and Aaron Judge on the Angels? They'd be in the same spot, so you can't use the team narrative. It's all conjecture. They aren't. Aaron Judge is on the Yankees and Shohei Ohtani's on the Angels. That's what we can look at. Like, it boils over to basketball too. Like, what if LeBron was playing in the 90s with Jordan? Like, would he get bodied by the defense? Like, that is the dumbest fucking argument I've ever heard. I don't know. You don't either. Like, you're just guessing. You have no idea. It's like, is LeBron James then born today and then put in the 90s, or did he grow up in 1978 and then like make it to the, like, it's so Bill Russell in today's
I don't like playing on.
I don't know. We don't know. You don't know either. So just shut the fuck up.
How can you base a MVP discussion on hypotheticals?
I know. Like, what are we doing here? Just appreciate that Judge is going for a triple crown and his 60 home runs, and maybe Shohei just won't win it this year. He could probably win it next year.
Yeah,
fine.
That's the thing. Shohei will probably, as long as Shohei's healthy, he will win it every single time a guy doesn't hit 60 home runs and flirt with the triple crown.
Like, is that fair? Ohtani stands. Is that fair that he'll win it every single time we don't have a triple crown winner who hits 60 plus home runs? Is that cool with you?
Also, the funny thing too is
so mad, Aram. Like, it's so pissed off for no reason. But at the same time, there are some Yankee fans that get so pissed off at the Ohtani comparisons. Like, that's why this MVP debate could have been is the greatest of all time, but people are just ruining it.
Yeah,
on both sides. I'm not like saying, oh, the Ohtani people are only the problem. There's Yankee fans that are just so dumb and so fucking annoying that will say that, oh, it's judged by a country mile. It's not judged by a country mile. Like, it's not. It just is.
Ohtani has somehow,
that's what makes it awesome.
Ohtani has somehow made this a discussion when we're looking at one of the greatest seasons of all time. He has somehow made this a discussion, which is a testament to just how freaking insane Shohei Ohtani is. Again, let's just enjoy both of those guys. And I just can't believe what we're seeing, to be honest. Like, every time I watch Judge, he homers. Every time I watch Ohtani, he shoves and then homers. It's just one of the coolest things that we've seen, I think, in the modern era, aside, especially post steroids. Talk about the home run races and how important. I mean, how much have we heard that? Like, it saved baseball. The PED guys chasing the home runs, tracing the record, saved baseball. I always thought that was a bit hyperbolic. It was definitely instrumental in the recovery from, the strike. But how about this Aaron Judge chase, this Albert Pujols chase, this Shohei Ohtani season, and what that's done for baseball this year? I mean, just so huge. I want to just thank them all for what they've done this year. I saw Adam Sandler literally thanked Aaron Judge on Twitter, which is hilarious. Just like, I've been enjoying watching you. Like, thank you. And that's literally what I wanted to say too. Like, thank you for this. This has been a pleasure to cover, and he's not done yet. Neither of them are done yet. And it's going to be a fun finish to the season here.
He faces off against Orancy Contreras tonight, and he may go for 61 for the record. That's all we have for you today. Thank you all very much for joining. This is the Just Baseball Show, the Thursday episode. Hopefully you enjoy the conversation with Nick Sandlin. And with that, thank you, everybody.